Welcome to Chapter 12 on Performance Management. Performance management consists of all those things a supervisor must do to enable an employee to achieve organizational objectives. Ongoing communication is the key to performance management. Performance appraisals are systematic assessments of how well employees are performing their jobs and the communication of that assessment to them. These appraisals may incorporate information from peers, subordinates, superiors, and others, but are usually done annually by the employee's immediate supervisor and should summarize what the supervisor has discussed with the employee throughout the year. Feedback should be a daily part of the supervisor-employee relationship, with formal appraisals scheduled once a year or more often if performance is a problem. For employees who are new to a department, there is often an additional appraisal 3 to 6 months after they begin work. Advantages to having a formal appraisal system include the idea that an appraisal can be a strong incentive to employees, that areas of weakness in the supervisor can be highlighted, and that appraisals can be used as documentation of an employee's performance for promotion decisions, compensation, training, disciplinary action, and other departmental decisions. Completing a written appraisal is one of the steps normally involved in the performance appraisal process. Prepared forms encourage uniformity and completeness in the appraisal process, but may have some problems such as subjective interpretations of evaluation criteria. Many relevant factors may be included on a written appraisal form, such as job knowledge, quality and quantity of work, and conduct. Even if the appraisal form has simple boxes for the supervisor to check off, the supervisor must still explain in writing why a particular evaluation was given. After written appraisals are completed, the supervisor should schedule a confidential private appraisal meeting with each employee to give formal feedback to the employee regarding expectations and performance. During the meeting, supervisors should be positive, complimenting work well done. Before ending the meeting, both supervisor and employee should agree on major areas that need improvement, with expectations and progress checkpoints built in for the employee's future with the firm. Employees should clearly understand their performance appraisals and implications before the appraisal meeting ends. Coaching is one way supervisors can follow up after the performance appraisal and informally encourage both the development of good employees as well as improved performance from all employees. The supervisor can be the coach, the cheerleader, and a mentor. Promotion from within a firm makes a lot of sense most of the time. Such promotions are great incentives to employees who may see the potential for promotion as a reason to work harder. In addition, when there are qualified candidates within the firm, the costs and risks associated with searching for and training new employees do not have to be incurred. Current employees do not have to have the same orientation that a new employee would because they're already familiar with the functioning of the company and are frequently already trained for the position. Although the supervisor has little direct authority when it comes to compensating employees, his or her recommendations do affect the compensation of an employee. An effective compensation plan strives to fairly reward employees for good performance and give them incentives to continue improvement and performance records. A system of performance management includes all those things a supervisor must do to enable the employee to achieve prescribed objectives. The system of performance management must make use of feedback and controls. The supervisor must monitor performance regularly and provide support and direction as needed. A performance appraisal is a systematic assessment of how well an employee is performing a job and the communication of that assessment. Supervisors are responsible for establishing performance standards or targets and then comparing employee performance with those standards, providing feedback to employees about their performance. Accurate records of employee performance are required as documentation of fulfillment of EEO requirements. Performance appraisals are usually done by the employee's immediate supervisor. They can be a powerful motivational tool when employees believe the process is fair and they understand both what's expected of them and the evaluation criteria. Peer evaluation is the evaluation of an employee's performance by other employees of relatively equal rank. There should be safeguards to ensure confidentiality and minimize the potential of bias when using peer evaluations. The 360-degree evaluation is a performance appraisal based on data collected from all around the employee to include customers, vendors, supervisors, peers, subordinates, and so on. Self-evaluations can give an employee the opportunity to rate him or herself and compare that rating to one from peers or the supervisor. This can help highlight whether the supervisor has given employees sufficient feedback. The more an employee's self-evaluation differs from the supervisor's evaluation, the more likely that insufficient feedback has been given throughout the year. For new or transferred employees, it's common to conduct an appraisal within 3 to 6 months. After that, it's common to have a performance appraisal at a set time every year. Some firms set the time for appraisals according to the date each employee started. Others have appraisals once or twice a year on fixed company-wide dates. Whenever employee performance is a problem, the supervisor can conduct an immediate intermediate appraisal, which is often followed after 30 days by another formal evaluation. When performance evaluation and its feedback, whether positive and negative, is part of the day-to-day relationship between a supervisor and employees, annual appraisals are not scary ordeals because they contain no surprises. Formal appraisal systems provide a framework for supervisors to systematically evaluate performance. Formal appraisals can be a strong incentive to employees, as recognition for good performance, as reassurance concerning expectations, or just to assure employees that they haven't been overlooked or forgotten in a large firm. Formal appraisals are used as documentation of an employee's performance for promotion decisions, compensation, and training. Formal employee appraisals can also alert supervisors to areas where their own supervisory skills are lacking. Appraisals should not be used as disciplinary devices, but rather as evaluation and incentive tools. W. Edwards Deming was a vocal critic of appraisals, saying that they leave people bitter and depressed and are the biggest American management problem. Tom Peters, however, contends that appraisals are essential tools for directing attention to new targets. Performance appraisals force supervisors to ask themselves the following questions: who should be promoted, who should get merit raises, who needs training, what training is needed, and who needs discipline. Completing a written appraisal is one of the steps normally involved in the performance appraisal process. Prepared forms encourage uniformity and completeness in the appraisal process. There are many relevant factors which are criteria for measuring job performance. They may be included on a written form and include job knowledge, quality and quantity of work, and conduct. Formal written appraisal forms may have boxes to check off or areas for the supervisors to write in. Regardless of the form used, the supervisor should justify his or her evaluation in a written discussion. Many companies are using computerized performance appraisal software packages that enable managers to choose ratings and statements from a standard list that point out any potential legal problems with the language of the appraisal. Problems with appraisal forms include the following: disagreements over terms like fair and satisfactory, differences in scores across supervisors. For example, one who rates all employees average and another who rates everyone below average for the same work, or when there's a leniency error. Leniency error refers to supervisors who give employees higher ratings than they really deserve. For a supervisor to avoid the halo or horns effect, they should try to evaluate all employees on one criterion before moving on to subsequent criteria.